Hello, it's going well.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
Nice.
Cool. Okay, so what are we doing the lesson on today?
Sheik versus Puff, because Michael's a tough one. He's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. So what's been happening in the sets?
Honestly, I feel like he just has like this bag of tricks, and there's always like a new one I'm not ready for, and then
Mm-hmm.
it just get outplayed pretty much.
Okay, I had.
But we've
Do you,
we've gone game five a few times. I take games pretty often, but I can't ever beat him.
okay. So like, do you feel the reason that you're not winning is that you aren't like that you don't know all of his tricks, or what do you think the reason is?
Um, is partially that, and I guess just some missing pieces in the mashup I'm probably not aware of.
Okay. All right. I'm down to just check out the VOD and see what's going on. I should. The Discord stream should be up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, cool. Just gonna watch for a second.
Hmm.
Not too much has happened yet. I'm definitely a little curious about some of the stuff you're doing, but I'm gonna wait and see what else happens first.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. What is your game plan in this matchup if you had to try and reduce it?
Um, it's definitely playing like near Puff where like Puff can't jump and do an aerial, and I can just like do a tilt or stuff him with my own aerial.
Mm-hmm.
So, and playing like in the diagonal range instead of other ranges.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
Dang, I own this game.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that is happening in this game so far
Yeah.
is just like completely different from the stuff I would do. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to watch some of it and be like, well, is this like a valid approach that I'm just not used to? I don't want to like criticize it
Yeah.
when like, but like it feels like it's probably just a little bit less effective than what I'm
Hmm.
normally doing. So Puff has very, very few victory cases against Sheik. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she basically needs either up tilt rest or like an up air type juggle situation where she gets you above her. Basically, she needs you to be directly above her to make anything happen unless she's getting some sort of like push you off the edge sort of like sharking thing. And like the corner, that's its own thing. If you get cornered, it's kind of rough. But when you're not cornered, she just doesn't really have any way to actually hit you. And I try to focus pretty hard on not letting her get under me basically ever. And so if
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use the platform, it's going to be entirely to keep Puff out. And anytime she starts getting close, I'm either going to like go around, like go up and around, or
Mm-hmm.
probably just try to like just not let her get in here. If she does get in, we probably either have to play a mix up or I'm just going to have to like reset. Most of the time I'll probably just reset. Cuz she has a really hard time like getting like the vertical. She beats her on the vertical by a lot. So sorry, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to approach this. It's just the the logic here is very different from
Mm-hmm.
like I don't agree with the needle charges basically.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
I got caught doing that a lot.
I think that she is gonna be trying to look for like she's basically trying to look for like holes in your wall or like in your zoning. And so
Mm-hmm.
the needle charge is like you get maybe one extra needle, but you lose the potential to like hold her out as well. So you're basically like making the thing that you need to do in the matchup, like the zoning, worse by doing
Mm-hmm.
the needle charge. And you'll
Right.
always have time to needle charge in the matchup. It's not something you have to sneak in. Um, so because like eventually you'll just hit her at like 60 and she'll be so far away that there's nothing to do except for needle charge. And those are the positions where you can get the needle charge for free. Otherwise, sometimes I'll do like full hop up and needle charge here if she's all the way over here, because I think like the full hop needle right here is really good. Let
Mm-hmm.
me go into Uncle Punch really quick and just sort of show my basic stuff, and then hopefully can use that as like a basis to talk about the positions. So let's put her over here. I'm here. Okay, so my the actions that I take from this position are basically either I do full hop and throw a needle right here, and then you can a lot of times if they're trying to pressure you from the air, you can get something where you get like needle fair, and I'll try to go for like the combo basically with the needle fair, and if she doesn't give me that, then I'm basically just gonna do the double needle from here or
Mm-hmm.
drop into this. And I kind of basically 99% of the matchup is back air. Like I will literally just try to back air all day, and you can kind of do stuff like this where like you move around and you don't actually need to back air because the threat of it is so
Mm-hmm.
big. And essentially, like if she tries to get it on the ground and you space it correctly with back air, you can still kind of like tipper her with the back air, and she can't really punish. Um, and you get these needles to kind of like pressure her, so it kind of covers this entire space. But I'm mostly thinking of basically doing a lot of like this, and then into back air. You move around, get this, move away if she gets underneath you, and then you kind of like resume this plan again where you're just kind of back airing or needle fairing. And then I'll a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times get something, I'll get like needle fair, forward tilt fair, and then I just back off and I start like the back air wall again. And if you can get her into the corner or off stage, like the back air is even stronger. And then sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you'll get something where you get like that because she thinks you're gonna she thinks she can get in like inside on to get the weak back air hitbox. But I think that hmm I think the thing to super keep in mind in this matchup is that if you do this and she is not directly next to you, you're not in any danger at all. Like she
Mm-hmm.
cannot hurt you in any form, and she also can't hurt you in any form when you're doing this. like when you're doing these like back like, so you can kind of just like do this and jump and play it very reactively, where like you're only in even somewhat danger of her maybe potentially getting an outplay for like very short periods of time. And you
Mm-hmm.
can sort of like focus your energy on like, okay, they're right there, and then hit that, okay, they're right there, and then you can retreat if you have to by going extra high. That's just sort of like what I'm kind of thinking when I'm playing it. I also think like crouch under the aerial into like down tilt and stuff like that is really good if she
Yeah,
tries to come down right on you. Um,
I like down toe. Yeah.
so I think like right here, rather than like the needle charge, you should definitely be like you should just be setting up for the back air platform camp wall like
Mm-hmm.
immediately. So you're like, okay, I'm right here. If she's doing this, I would probably just go down. I probably wouldn't even try to hit her for it. I just go down, have a nice advantage position where I'm gonna like zone with the back air.
Mm-hmm.
This and then this is something to keep note of also is that when you have a position where Puff is off center, like you're holding her into the corner, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to give up that position unless you absolutely have to. So you basically have the entire stage behind you to work with while you're zoning her, which makes
Right.
her efforts to actually like push you across the stage take a long time, because anytime, like you can always just dash away short hop, and the back air creates this big delay and she can't really go in on you immediately, and she might be, oh, I have to move away a little bit, and then you can move back into the space. You can kind of maintain these periods of advantage for quite a long time, unless she tries to just go high, and sometimes she can make it high and make it a little tricky to hit her, but you're not going to be in any danger of really like losing the center position.
Right.
So like the retreat here into the needles is not super good. I think like
Mm-hmm.
there's not gonna be basically any times against Puff where you want a lot of needles. Like obviously like the offstage thing is like it's good to throw a bunch of needles if you have them, but like most of the situations against Puff with needles are going to be like needle just as you land into runoff fair, or like short hop needle, short hop needle, short hop needle versus like her double jump recovery. And like there's not a lot of points where you would even want the full stack, in the sense of like you throw the full stack and she just jumps over it. She's just gonna drift over and rest you. And so
Yeah.
like most of the time you're gonna be throwing needles like close to the ground. If you can get a couple more, it's fine, but it's definitely not like a priority. Every single one of these positions you should be thinking of like hitting with like the back air or the fair or the needle basically. um the way I describe this matchup from the Puff end is that Puff basically has like 5 or 6 chances to get one of her wind cases, where like she only has a couple of them, and she kind of has to make like kind of like a crazy read or movement to like get in. And the majority of the time, Sheik will like, this matchup is essentially even when like 1 out of 6 times Puff gets in and then gets the rest. The majority of the time, the decision that Puff makes to try to get into the actual good position is just gonna be reactable, and you can just hit it. For Puff to get her opening on Sheik, everything really needs to line up where the Sheik is kind of out of position, and the Puff happen to like read the positioning by moving in, and then Puff ends up underneath you. And you also need to be in a spot where you can't just double jump away, because that's kind of like a free escape. And so like it's not easy for like, just know that like for the Puff to try to get the openings that they want, they have to put themselves in positions for you to just land easy back airs all the time. They
That
can't
makes sense.
really interact with you without giving you free back airs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is the type of spot where like the crouch down tilt is really good, or like I do crouch up tilt here too.
Yeah.
um I think the jab is mostly fine though. The other thing is that you don't really need the platform in this matchup. Like I think that Sheik against most characters, the platform is like a really safe position compared to the ground. But against Puff, the platform and the ground are sort of equivalently safe, and in some ways the ground is
Mm.
even safer. Um,
Mm.
so I think you can like set up a lot more with just short hopping from the ground rather than like trying to play this platform position. It's sort of like it doesn't matter too much because you're safe both ways, but I feel like you're during this game you kind of go to the platform. Like I think this is a good example. Like this first time going to the platform is like fine. You full hopped up there with this back air. And then right here, first of all, this is like, let's see. It's like if Puff made the decision to go underneath you right here, this would be one of her win cases. So like if you do
Mm.
this short hop and Puff happens to jump right underneath you right here,
Yeah.
it's very scary, and so that's part of why the side plat is kind of rough. Is that like not rough, but it's not quite as good as necessarily as the ground in a lot of spots. Is that like you can get trapped where like she just happens to read your movement and gets underneath you. Whereas like if you're doing short hop backflips from the ground, the odds that she like read you enough to get right underneath you are way lower.
Mm.
Hmm. Wish I had a VOD of me playing this matchup. I feel like I always do well in it. Hmm.
I like watching Crudo for this matchup. He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, I would imagine he'd be pretty good at it too. Hmm. Yeah, I think what I'm realizing while trying to do this lesson is that so many of the spots in Sheik Puff are just easier Falco Puff spots.
Mm.
And so I
Wow.
think there's like a lot of spots where I'm like, oh yeah, see, normally you just do the back air there with Falco, but with Sheik the back air works even better. And I'm like, huh, I didn't really think of like Sheik specific reasons why that's super good. Is I just know it's good from playing Falco there. I think hmm hmm trying to think of the best way to like get across like the general idea of what's going wrong. Those are good fares by him though. That's why like I think the back air is so good because you can just like sit here and like if you didn't like if you weren't taking the time to do these needles and you were just back airing, like even like a lot of the down air and stuff, a lot of the complications in this matchup only really help Puff. The majority of the time, it's like almost like a two button matchup. Like I think
Mhm.
that in terms of like the tools that you have, like I think Puff is a very simple character, and you can kind of just match her with like your simple ideas are matched by my
Mm.
simple but better moves. Like you outrange her in most positions. So
Yeah.
you can kind of just play the same way that Puff is playing, but back at her. Where like
Yeah.
Puff is trying to jump and aerial you, but like you have better aerials. So like right here, there's no reason to be charging this. You can just be sitting here like getting ready to back air and just trying to react. And then when this happens, you would just hit her on the reaction. And
Mm.
then like now you're right here. I think that these are only good if you're going to be landing on the side plat. Otherwise, a quick wave dash in and she could potentially open you up here. Um, so yeah, you're just kind of like needle charging in spots where like if you were setting up a short hop and looking for the back air reaction point there, then like Puff wouldn't have been able to do that like at all. So it's almost hard to like analyze that spot where like that spot should already be covered, and if Puff goes for that, that should just be a free hit from your end.
Yeah.
I think like the less mix-ups you play in this matchup, the better. I think it's like a matchup that can be played almost entirely on reaction. And I think
Mm.
Puff somewhat relies on people's instincts being set up to like play mix-ups. Like right here, you're like looking at the position and like reading this to try to get like a kill. But it's
Mhm.
really like not necessary to do that ever. It's like you kind of can get out of the corner. Like I think right here, if you just wave dash in crouched when they full hop, just getting directly under the full hop is a good like rule of thumb, like in general, that if they full hop, it takes Puff so long to come down out of the full hop that you're pretty much guaranteed free reign, like underneath her, if you can react to it. And then once you're
Mhm.
underneath her, your moves are just extra double scary. Where like if you were underneath, like right here, if this happens, you wave dash in, Puff full hops. If you happen to like run in right here, there's this weird feeling where Puff is like, I'm about to get up aired. Maybe Puff moves out of the way. You wave dash in, get your back air wall. Now they're in the corner, and it's kind of hard for them to like get back to the position. It's kind of like you have like an undefeatable moving wall, and the the only way that Puff can really avoid that wall is by like tricking you in a way that they can like get in on you or they can like move around you to get in. And if you just have ways to counter that of like, oh, they're gonna full hop and they're gonna try to come in at this angle where it's kind of awkward for back air. And if like when that happens you just kind of get under Puff in an awkward way, then like let's see. Maybe the best way to describe it would be like what I was saying, where like Puff has like 5 or 6 chances per stock to get you, and then has to sort of do like vulnerable mix-ups to actually get into those spots. And if you're playing in a way that like lets you invalidate, especially like on reaction, like you can react to the full hop a lot of times. If you're playing in a way that can invalidate like a couple of those, then like let's say she has 3 things that she can go for, and she has 6 chances to hit one of those 3 things. If you can make it so that like you react really well against one of those 3 things, now it's like, okay, she has 2 different ways to get in. Like it gets dicey for the Puff very fast. Like I think if the Sheik is zoning you well, it feels kind of hopeless on how to like get in. And I think that from the Sheik end, you don't really want to worry about big openings too much because all that matters is not letting Puff get her couple situations.
Mm. Okay.
So it's like you don't need that. All you need to do here, you're like, okay, back air, just dash
Mm.
away here. I would dash away crouch.
Yeah.
Just dash away crouch and be like, what are you gonna do? Sometimes what they'll do is they'll do like a full hop fair here. As soon as they full hop fair, you go, oh, that's a free second back air. And then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now what are you gonna do now? And now they're like up here, and you're like, okay, I do dash in, dash back, instant back air, and it misses, but now I'm over here, and now you're standing here, and they kind of come down this way, and you're like, okay, full hop, turn around, needle, drop off, back air, and it's like no, at no point in there did they have any hope of actually getting you. But if they actually wanted to get the kill, if they need like if they just right after this run away, then sure they're not going to get back aired again. But if they actually want to hit you and make something happen, there's just so many windows where you can just react and hit them.
Mm.
Yeah, this is just you're just guaranteed dead if you're too far off stage. I think also the full hop. If I accidentally, I'm not sure if this was on purpose, but if you do this full hop on accident here, you should basically always just go around this way and then needle, like just right here, needle cover
Mm.
this space and come back down. The full hop, like I said before, it's kind of like how her full hop gives you the ability to get right underneath her. It's like your full hop gives Puff the ability to get under you. And unlike Puff, you have a great vertical. So as soon as you get in the spot where you're like kind of uncomfortable here, you can just leave and use the horizontal spacing again to like beat her.
Right.
And like I don't think you should be playing any of this. Like none of these situations should like exist. Like this, no. There's just nothing. Even the needle, there's nothing here that needed to happen at all. You can just literally like repeat the plan. I think like you could go for short hop, backflip, and pressure with a fair, or short hop and pressure with a back air, or act like you're gonna pressure, retreat to side plat, needle, needle, drop down, jump up, needle, run off fair. You can just kind of repeat that
Yeah.
over and over. There's just all
Okay.
of
Yeah.
this stuff is potential spots for Puff to maybe sneak out one of their things that actually works. Most things do not work. Like I've been talking about the Falco Fox matchup a bunch lately, where I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Falco wins, or sorry, like Falco wins about 30% of the situations in the matchup is my like feeling, and Fox wins about 70%. But the matchup is not 70-30 because
Mm-hmm.
Falco can do a really good job of forcing the match into the 30% of situations where he does win. Where like if you add
Mm.
up all the possible situations, Falco gets kind of rocked, but he's really good at like resetting and positioning himself so that like all of those winning chaotic situations that Fox has like aren't relevant. And so I
Right.
think
Right.
that this is a matchup where like it's weird because Sheik, like if you're next to Puff on the ground and you're both like tilting and jabbing and stuff, Sheik does win that. Like
Mm-hmm.
overall, it's like kind of an advantage for Sheik, but there is risk in a way that doesn't need to exist. Where like Sheik wins Sheik wins so many positions. Like Sheik wins basically like 90% of positions in the matchup is what it feels like to me when I play it. Just almost entirely from like full hop needle to platform, run off fair, and reaction bear and crouch down tilt. Like and sometimes crouch up tilt. It's pretty much like it just completely obliterates Puff and she can't really do anything about it. And so like there's like putting yourself in a position where she might be able to use one of her 10% of the situations where she actually wins is just not worth it because you like right over there you just have like a bunch of situations that she can't touch you
Yeah.
for.
I get it.
And yeah, the needle charge getting you again. I sort of have like a never dash attack rule against Puff. I think like there's like a couple spots maybe, but overall you should just not be dash attacking. You should basically just
Right.
be repeating the plan over and over. Even right here, this back air is not my favorite because she's close enough for a mix up to happen. Like if Puff right here does wave dash up tilt or something like that, this is like a potential loss for you. Where as like right here, one sec, like let's say right here, you just did full hop, double jump, wave land off, needle, you're completely
Uh-huh.
safe. Or run away, short hop back air. So it's like you need to
Yeah.
create. It's like almost like you're playing like Marth, where you need to create like a space where she is outside the space, and your moves serve to keep her outside that space. And if she's within that space, you have really good tools to just get out of that space again and then resume keeping her out. If she's in the space, all kinds of bad things can happen. And all it takes is one. That's the frustrating part about this matchup is you feel like you just say the ABCs over and over and over until eventually you miss a letter and then you die. And it's like
It's tough.
it's just annoying, but on the other hand, they can't do anything if you don't miss any letters. And so you can kind of
Yeah.
just like, A B C D, like yeah.
Oh, fuck. That was bad.
Yeah, SDs happen, not a huge deal. Like okay, right here, like this is like an example of like a spot where it's like if you weren't charging needles, if instead you were crouching right here with your back facing Puff, and then Puff does this, that's free damage. You can just back air this with zero risk. If she drifts back, you're fine. If she drifts in, the back air hits. After the back air hits, you can potentially move in and maybe go for like a second kind of pressure while she's in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's kind of funny, but if you do the reaction bears correctly, it actually puts Sheik in position to not get hit for the things that for the others with the other stuff. Like I can show you an example that'll make sense. Like if you do the back air right here when she's coming in, then
Yeah.
you would actually be landing right about now. Like let's say so this would have hit Michael right here if you did the back air at the
Yeah.
right timing. But let's say Puff drifts back and you did the back air and it misses. As Puff is landing, you are also landing out of your back air. Like you're landing even a little bit earlier than Puff, and so you don't get stuck in a spot where it's like the timing on this isn't awful, but if you do the back air, it like creates a spot where this exact timing can't really happen too much, where it'll be like you do the back air, land, you get your second back air, like basically right here you would just be somewhat further down. You'd be like right here.
Hmm.
And so you could be like late back air as you landed to prevent this already. You could have honestly hit her
Yeah.
here anyway. I just wanted to point out that like when you're like, "Oh, there's the easy spot. I'll just react with the back air." It automatically puts you in a position afterward where you can keep playing without really worrying too much about the timing. Just sort of
Yeah.
coincidentally. Um there's yeah, also hmm. Yeah, I think this was just a little bit too late on the back air. I think
Hmm.
like you could have done this back air instantly, like a jump instant back air, or you can do it a little
Yeah.
later, and this was just kind of too late. Like the back air didn't fully come out, or this would have been fine. And you would have won the position. And right here, it's like okay, Puff hits you. Like we're all good here. You can just like leave. You don't actually need to fight this out
Um,
ever. You can just like okay,
yeah.
and now we're here. And you're somewhat overcomplicating the position again, land the back air. There's no real big mix that needs to be played here. You can play it from the
Mm.
side plat. Like you're basically like wasting time by doing this in ways that like aren't effective. Like it'd be better to just put yourself in the good spot. Like if right
Uh-huh.
here you hit her off, boom, right here, just jump up to the platform and like jump up with her and just be like, okay, what are you gonna do? Come down to the plat. You're in this. I like this spot on the platform because you can drop and needle her before she can grab the edge. So I would like drop needle like right there, and then you get this like repeated needle type interaction near the edge.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna be doing the back air wall, you probably want to be a little bit further out, just so that you
Hmm.
can kind of like pressure her for trying this type of stuff. But
Yeah.
I think like just do the most basic, simple edge. I think something that's important to keep in mind is that you don't have to trick Jigglypuff to win as Sheik.
Um,
And I think that like it looks like like basically most of the interactions in this game feel like you're trying to like trick him. You're trying to trick him into
yeah.
doing something, and
Most
then
definitely.
like you're playing it like you're fighting against like a normal character basically. Where you're like, oh okay, like oh I see this, and then oh look I'm actually gonna go here. Just kidding. Oh I was here, and like everything in there was just an opportunity for Puff to be like random side betrayed rest. Whereas like if you just play it of like it's Puff's job to trick you. If Puff cannot trick you in an appropriate amount of attempts, you win the match by default. That's the way that Sheik zones Puff out. And
Insane.
and so it should just be entirely like, okay, you're here, I hate you. Oh, you tried that? Ha! You're not gonna get me with that. I know how to avoid that spot. You run away, do another back air, do the full hop needle, etc. It the simpler you can make it, the stronger it is.
Hmm.
And just remembering that it's entirely up to her to like try to trick you. You do not have to try to trick her or mix really at all.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. This was good. I love this fair. Watch this. You hit the fair, then right
Mm.
here, do dash in, dash back, short hop, backflip. If Puff decides to continue fighting, easy back air to the face. If Puff
Mm.
leaves, easy take center. Because Puff is already in the air, she has this like big annoying window before she can actually get down. And so you're basically creating a spot where you're saying, okay, Puff, if you come in at me again immediately, you're going to get aerialed with like a back air here.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't immediately come in at me, you are forced to give me center stage.
Yeah.
And then once you have center, the wall just gets even stronger
Yeah.
because Puff has less and less space to actually like move around and outplay you. This is like, they love this spot. This is okay. So this is one of like the secret important spots in the matchup. Remember how I was saying like
Mm.
she has only 3 different things that'll get you, and if you can make sure
Yeah.
that one of them never hits, you're like unbeatable. Right here,
Uh-huh.
when
Oh
you get
yeah.
into this position, just leave. Just leave. No matter what.
Just
You
leave.
can just run away and reset because like this isn't a position that they get to create for free. This is like a position that they kind of like had to work for. Like they had to actually like put in a little bit of effort to like not even effort, they had to like win a mix here basically, cuz like
Yeah.
if, you could have done a lot of things that would beat this. They had to win a mix to get in. And so they're like, okay, finally, I didn't just get zoned out. It's time to really make something happen now that Sheik is above me. And if you just turn that position into a guaranteed stalemate and keep playing, it just completely removes, like, one of their main avenues to getting stocks.
Yeah.
So
That
notice he's
makes
like,
sense.
boom, instant, like, goes for the up air. And then it's like,
Yeah.
now that we're here, oh, this
Oh,
is
the pound.
this is so, like, right here, if you did a short hop here with the back air, the position is unlosable. Even this full
Mm.
hop is it's like if you do the full hop here, basically the only thing they can do to get you here is like a double wave dash in, which some of them will try here.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't do the double wave dash in, like if you do the full hop and you realize that they're in the air, you can just drift in and back here. There was no reason to like give up this position. Like look right here, you get this. This is unlosable. You can just put a back air right here. But because you drift
Yeah.
away more and you put the back air here, look what Puff gets to do. Oh, I get to throw up my thing. This is just a free, unlosable situation, free back air for you. So then, okay, we end up here. And, like, this is definitely, like, a spot where, you can just get, like, a forward tilt or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
and then the needle charge is getting you again because it ruins, like, the timing that you're at. It kind of reminds me of like with Falco, where like if Falco takes too long to get his like against Sheik, like if Falco takes too long to get his laser set up, then you have potential like, oh, I'm gonna dash attack while you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get your short hop laser out. Whereas like if when the position splits, he gets the laser out immediately, the dash attack like loses a lot of its like effectiveness as like a read. So I think like
Yeah.
right here, if you basically just went for the short hop back here way earlier, you have like a pretty good zoning position here. And then even if you don't want to do that and you just crouch, like if you could just do like crouch, run in underneath Puff. You could go to ledge here, ledge dash, crouch, run in. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
options you can do that are just like safe, or you can continue walling with the back air and try to react to what Puff does. Um, But the needle charge literally just like ruined the position for you. Where like
Mm-hmm.
right here, if you had done like a short hop, right here, short hop backflip, there's impossible to lose. Guaranteed tipper back air when he does that up air.
Scary.
Small note, definitely should get the pummel here.
Oh yeah. Guaranteed.
And so this is like where the sort of calculating comes in. Like you just have to kind of know. Look at this. So you hit this, you hit that back air, which is really good. It's it's kind of hard to explain like how you should know all of these, but I think the more you just spend time reacting and back airing over and over, the better it gets. is that
Mm.
this position is slightly too close for a backflip back air. And so if you did non-backflip back air, like you just short hop forward here, you get to maintain your center stage, and then as soon as Puff does this, you get a free back air on this. So like knowing that you're close enough, knowing that you're too close and not
Yeah.
doing the backflip and doing the short hop forward is a lot of times like the big it's like that's all
Yeah.
the effort you really have to put into the matchup most of the time is like I actually really like this position as Sheik because they're thinking they can hit the backflip back air here. Because they're like, yes, like right here, the Puff definitely will see this position and be like, aha, like, because what the Puff is thinking here is that what they don't want to have happen is they don't want you to get your short hop backflip right here in place and then get the
Mm.
late back air on them in the corner. They're thinking like, ugh, I need to prevent that. And so one of the ways to prevent that from happening is to just push in right here with a fair or a nair, and that's what this short hop away backflip, or sorry, not backflip, short hop away with no backflip can hit them for.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
You can just light shield here, right here. You're totally safe. Oh, this is a spot I mentioned before. Right here, leave. Go to the top flat. Get
Yeah.
out of here. They want this so badly. They're just they sit in bed at night like hoping that Sheik's drop through and try to hit him here. Okay, so this happens. Notice, so this is like one of those spots where basically what I like to do in this exact position, because this is kind of similar to the spot before where the backflip is too close. Um, but it's also a position where dash away short hop back air is also too close. It's kind of a spot
Mm.
that's like a little bit annoying whether you do either. And so what I'll do right here is I'll just dash to this spot and crouch. And if Puff pushes forward with an aerial, like a full hop aerial, then I just get instant short hop back air, like the early back air. And if Puff
Yeah.
didn't immediately push in with an aerial, the position resets to a range where I can get my backflip short hop back air out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh. That should have been death.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no death? Crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just that spot where the needle's getting you again, where you can
Mm.
definitely set up a back air quickly enough here, right here. Just get that short hop backflip out, and then if Puff it goes into this spot, boom, free back air reaction, and it'll just happen so many times. Like, basically, when I was playing this matchup at first with Sheik, I started questioning Puff players' sanity. I was like, why are they just floating into all my moves? And eventually I realized that they have no choice. Like, if you set up the position and get the spot where you can react to the back air, their options were avoid the situation entirely or get hit with the back air. And that's why what they're looking for is they're looking for these little gaps where, like, oh,
Yeah.
you went for the short hop backflip, but you were too close. So I got you. And then they're like, okay, and now this time you were a little bit too close for either of the short hops, so I got you. And then this time, the timing was a little bit off, and I got beneath the side plat, and you were on the side plat, and then I got you for coming down. And it's like, if she can't get any of those spots, what does she do? The answer is
Right.
nothing. There's
Yeah.
just like she just runs out of successful options. Like, that's like pretty much the only
Crazy.
thing that she can even hit you with. This is pretty small, but every time, like, if Puff is below the ledge, my brain goes entirely into needle mode. So I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
jump right here and turn around needle and just needle over and over. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
goal. Like right here. I would
Yeah.
definitely be going for a needle in that spot. It just makes it really annoying for Puff. You get like, I'm sure you've seen it, just like the needle, needle, needle. She
Yeah.
has a really hard time grabbing ledge here, and it's just like a really good advantage spot for Sheik that you can take advantage of pretty much every time she ends up below you there. So yeah, this is slightly misspaced, but you got it anyway. You get the backflip. There's not really an answer for her. She just has to take the backflip. Then right here, it's a little dicey. I would have done a dash away here into it. Like right here, then I would do dash away, no backflip to right here. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm still holding center, and if she full hop approaching aerials me, I get a free back air. Like I would have gotten a second back air right here because I would have just run away and
Yeah.
done a short hop right there and been like, oh, back air for free. Then right here, this is the same as the under platform spot. It looks a little different, but you go, oop, she got me. The answer here is to not come
Yeah.
down. Just chill up here. And you
Mm-hmm.
can just run down to the side and eventually get a needle. Like she can't effectively chase you up here, and then as soon as you make it down to the side plat, you have falling needle, run off fair, wave down, like wave dash off back air. You have access to all of those, and she can't get you. And so it's like, okay, she gets like this position where you come down, and then it's instantly like, yes, it's Puff time. And then this, yeah, this is like, you can't really do much here. Personally, I think the best option here is to wave dash down into the platform. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason is that she's going to hit you anyway, but you'll get your double jump back.
Uh,
And yeah, you feel a little pressured here. I can feel it. As you get this,
mm-hmm.
like, woohoo, right here. Uh-oh, I feel a little bit pressure. I would actually have gone to ledge here after the fair. I think going to ledge here is probably the right option. I think there's probably a couple other things you could do. Like if this was Plup, Plup would probably have hit like fair runoff nair here or something crazy. Like
Mm-hmm.
something insane. But like basically if you're in a spot, you can also just crouch. So this is something that'll happen a lot. This is actually something I learned from Drug Fox like a long time ago. That
Oh.
if Puff is right here, I'm trying to go frame by frame, but it's kind of like lagging it up. That if Puff is right here, you are completely safe. It feels really weird because the position is like,
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of close. But the
Yeah.
way that Puff works is like she can either drift right here and miss you, or she can do a double jump. And when she does the double jump, you get like an extra like 60 full frames basically before she can come in again, because she has to get like jump and then drift all the way down and back in. So it feels kind of pressury, but you're actually completely safe here, like completely safe. Feels weird,
Wow.
but
Yeah, it does feel weird.
yeah, but there's if you have to just think about it with pure logic and not intuition, because like every piece of intuition will tell you that like you're in danger here, because like most other characters can like would just do like land short hop nair at you or something like that, but Puff doesn't. She needs that like drift, and there's just no
Mm-hmm.
option here that can actually get you. So you can like low key just like crouch here, like walk forward a little bit, and then like if she does this double jump, now you're in a spot where you can run underneath her, like crouch shield, potentially get like a crouch under up tilt. All kinds of things start opening up there that like wouldn't really be normal against most other characters, but Puff has to choose laggy bad double jump versus no pressure land on ground.
Mm.
Yeah, that actually blew my mind when he told me that. I was like, "What?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
I've been
crazy.
playing that position wrong this whole time." And he's like, "Yeah, you just look at the cone, like the drift cone, and know that if she double
Yeah.
jumps, like if she double jumps, it's not like a fox doing like, oh, I baited you, full hop over. It's like, no, when she double jumps, it takes forever to get back down, and it just gives you this whole like extra tempo of like, oh, I get like a whole another chance to play like a brand new situation. The situation that I thought that like was existing is not actually as like dangerous as it appeared.
Crazy. I never knew that.
So this is a spot again. So first of all, I wouldn't have gone off here. I would have just done, like I think, just drop. I would probably drop right here, drop fair or drop needle, and then turn around and start getting the back air zoning.
Uh-huh.
Back air zoning time. Like this, you just gave her so much center
Yeah,
stage here, like for
it
no
came in.
reason that she did not. There was, and it's just once again like even if you're here, even if you do this and this happens and you're not charging the needle here, and this happens, you can just react and short hop back air this. You could have honestly still reacted and short hop back air this, but you need to be really ready to hit that.
Uh-huh.
You're not gonna want to do. It's just funny. The answer is just always the same. It's always the short hop back air in some capacity. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, you were probably just doing either the wrong short hop back air or you slightly misunderstood the range. And that would,
Uh-huh.
I think this is like a good example of like maybe Puff can get something here, but it's like I think that this is like an example of like a spot where like the timing is just slightly wrong, and it's not even your fault that it's wrong. It's more like it just kind of happens sometimes where it's like
Yeah.
slightly wrong, and Puff will almost always like try to sneak something in because she's desperate. Like Puff is just get desperate all the time against Sheik if you play it
Sure.
right because there's nothing to hit. And so like if you get even like the tiniest voice in your head telling you that it's like not a great position, you don't have to play it. But I think even in this case, like you were at 0, so like not like the pound, or you're at 2, like not like the pound can knock you down anyway. But I did
Yeah.
feel like the like you want the backer to hit Puff, not like drop onto Puff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the whole matchup, once you get the plan consistent and you're just playing that same plan every time, comes down to Puff being able to abuse those little timing positions and spacing positions. And if she's basically on like a timer, and if she can't solve that and like get lucky in one of those times, then you will just win. Okay, that was good. I like that. I really like when she goes high, just doing this, like the crouch up tilt or whatever, and like the trade. I think those are mad strong.
Mm-hmm.
Drop needle, needle again. No.
No. I got the first one.
Yeah, it's like drop needle, and then you just charged it. I think okay. So the fair here is so good, and I'm so in favor of the fair. But what'll basically happen is that like you're using the fair to lock her in the corner and like potentially kill her if the fair hits, which is really good.
Yeah.
How does she get out of that spot?
Uh,
She, she's
go bug.
she's looking for like, yeah, she wants to go a little higher, and she wants to figure out a timing that'll get you. So what's your timing on the fair? Short hop fair, short hop fair, short hop fair. So what she's gonna look for is short hop fair. Now I moved a little bit high, and so the next fair like comes down, and you're no longer in position to hit her. And so the trick is you do short hop fair, dash away, backflip, instant back air, and you will hit her for trying to go above the next fair. And then what that does
Ooh.
is you just reset and do the fairs again. And it's basically like here, like right here. So you get short hop fair, jab, okay, good. Short hop fair, runaway instant back air, like backflip back air
Oh
right here.
yeah.
It
I
hits
see it.
every time. And the reason it hits is that she doesn't have access to her full hop. Like she gets stuck like in like especially like when she's right here with no grounded. Like if she's grounded, I think getting like the fair over and over is pretty good. I think you can do like fair, dash away, short hop, and then react with like a late back air. But if she ends up in the air here in these positions, this is just back air city because she's trying to get above the fair, and you can just almost always get her. And
Yeah,
then
I see it
and then
now.
you have this, which is like this was great, and this is just like what you should have always at your disposal. Is like just like, oh,
I love it.
Puff tried to hit me, boom, you're dead. I also think like the top plat's probably a little bit better here than the side plat. If you're gonna go to the platform instead of ledge, I think the top plat is definitely a little less
Yeah.
scary. Just because she can pressure with like the short hop and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This and then this is that stuff again
Yeah.
where you're like, uh-oh, Puff is right below me. What should I do? Never interact ever. Just get out of the way. You can reset it with zero danger. This is Puff's moment. And they're like, okay, Puff resets. Back air. Ooh. See, I like this, but you didn't need to keep going. You did it perfectly right here. This is the same exact spot as before. You hit this, and you get this runaway short hop back air. Oh, it's beautiful. Like, as you can see right here, this is the spot where, like, Puff would try the full hop fair. Right here. Where you try to do
Mm-hmm.
either full hop fair or short hop up air. And she's like, oh, I'm going to sneak right here under the backflip. And you dash away. This entire time you should just be reacting. Like as you start your short hop, you should be like react, 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 react. What's Puff doing? What's Puff doing? And if you were reacting, you would have just gotten a free back air on this.
Yeah.
And any other aggressive option that Puff did, and you wouldn't have given up center. So like this was actually such a good short hop, and if you just needed to like hold that position. I always let these needles rip too. I think like right here, just let them rip. Just turn around needle. It just stops them from trying to
Right.
jump in here. It creates like a guaranteed. That's why he's shielding because he's like, ah, here it comes. And then I don't like doing the runoff fair here unless it's right after a needle because the needle like protects the
Oh.
space before I come in with the
Yeah.
fair. If if I do like if I'm in this spot and Puff is not like in range for like the needle or whatever, like I would have probably just tried to get under her. Like there's a couple options you could do here. You could do like waveland off back air or like we run off back air here, or even if you do this, like if you go for the back air here instead of the fair, it keeps Puff out of this counter attack range. So like if you do waveland off here and you do a back air, Puff would need to be like right here. But because of the fair, she can like exist in the range where the back air would normally hit, which lets her pressure afterward. And that's why the fair there is a little dicey unless you have like the needle protecting you. So yeah, I like that you didn't go in here. This looks like an accidental full hop, right?
Which one? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually kind of like the fair here. But I think there's fine too for the most part. Okay, I like that you didn't go into fight here, but I think that in like you could have reset the position quicker and you didn't have to play this mix up top where like right here you can just immediately like run off needle here and get your nice
Yeah.
little reset. And this is another one of those spots where like it kind of feels like you should be playing the game and like mixing and really outplaying Puff, but this is just another short hop backflip spot. It's just like another like you would have just done the short hop backflip and been like, oh, like
Yeah.
take away like I sometimes I feel like we need to like get a thing where like they replace the texture of Puff with like the home run target, or not the home run target,
The
the like the what's that mode called? I don't know, I'm blanking.
break the
Break
target.
the targets.
No.
Break the targets. Yeah, yeah. Where like you just need to see this little target moving around in the air, and your goal is to just hit the target when it gets close. Whereas like all of this stuff is like there's just no reason to do any of it because you already have a perfect plan that shuts down everything Puff does.
It's so simple.
It's disturbingly simple, actually. It's kind of irritating.
It is.
Like I
I
just
like pressing buttons and using all my moves.
yeah. Unfortunately, they included this cursed abomination in the game,
I
so
just got a bear and bear.
every character, every main of every character feels exactly like this, by the way. Like as Fox, you're like, I just have to dash dance for like 6 minutes. And as Falco, you're like, I have to retreating laser for 6 minutes. And as Falcon, you're like, I have to camp the top platform. And like, it's just not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
But you know what's even less
L-
fun? Losing to it.
Losing, yeah.
And what I try to say is that like beating Puff, especially with Sheik, because it's just business, and you just move on to the matches that you actually
It's
like
just
care
business.
about. And in this
Right.
case, it's grand finals, so you would just kind of be like, oh, okay, just do the business thing, and then you're like, GG's, and then you go home and you practice versus like real characters online. Yeah, okay. I think when you get this needle too, this needle is like I think the runoff fair is pretty broken after the needle. The range makes it a
Mm.
little ambiguous,
Yeah.
but I think that like, hmm, what is what is the right answer here? There's a lot of answers that would work, but which is the one that
Mm,
Puff can't counter at all?
maybe
Probably
maybe she'll
wave
get
dash
up.
back. I'd probably wave dash back to this part of the platform,
Mhm.
because that's the other thing. It's related to that, and that's why I think the position where Puff did the double jump in the corner, where we were like, "Oh, that's the drug fox position thing." I think that position is actually really important to a lot of positions in the matchup whenever Puff is not grounded. So like when she doesn't have access to full hop, because right here, Puff can't hit you at all unless she does a double jump. She has to either drift down and be unable to hit you and then come up afterward, or she has to do some sort of double jump and press in. And if there's a double jump, there's two options. There's either double jump instant aerial, which can only hit about this range, or double jump late aerial, in which case you would be able to outrange it. And so I think just backing off slightly and setting up to hit her either with a fair or a back
Mm,
air for double jumping in at you is probably the best option here. And if she goes low, you can just go high and circle around. So notice that
yeah.
there's this double jump, and look at how much of
Hmm.
like a delay there is after the needle before this would even reach your position. So like you get to do this big jump. Wait, it's still not even there. It's nowhere even close yet.
Wow.
It's still not there. It's still maybe now it's kind of hitting maybe, but like you were never really like
Yeah.
vulnerable in there at all because it takes so much time to get to this position. So much more time than is like intuitive
Wow.
because her drift is so strong like horizontally that it feels
Yeah.
like she's moving there really fast. But when she gets caught in these like she either has to fall here or like jump and then come down again, the delay is really big and you can just play around it. And this is like my the logic here is that fair wouldn't kill yet. I think if she was at
Mm,
like 90, this would have been totally acceptable fair, but you're still in damage building mode. And if you're in
I
damage building
see.
mode, back air is king. And
Back
so
air,
even though
yeah.
you just hit this back air 1 second ago, just line up for a second back air. Just another back air here would have been a
Yeah.
nice guaranteed hit. Never fight this position ever. So you're like, you miss. Okay, fine, right here. Like, low key, like wave, like air dodge to top plat's probably better than doing anything like this. Just because, like, I understand this is like a rough position to get stuck in. Like, I think the double jump was good. Um, yeah, you're kind of vulnerable here. I would say probably just like air dodge to top plat, like wave land
Yeah.
to top plat, if possible, is probably the best. I think if you're coming down, otherwise, maybe like wave dash down into this platform, like right here or something like that. I would probably try to get up high though. Like it's kind of like, okay, what does Puff have to kill me at this percent? If you are holding down on a platform, it's pretty hard for Puff to kill you, especially if you're holding down on this platform. If you're holding down here, maybe she backers you and you go far enough off the slide off that she can get like grab the edge and create something. But if you air dodge the top plat here and hold down, like maybe like if she reacts well, she can hit you with an up air. Otherwise, it'll be back air or forward air, which will just send you to the ledge. Whereas if she do this, she could have definitely killed you out of this spot if she had like wave dashed or done something better there. This is also not kill percent. Down tilt only comes out when you're ready to kill her. Otherwise, when you're ready to kill her, or when she's like drifting right on you, and you have that anti-air one that's like a reaction.
Yeah.
Like using down tilt
Okay.
in a way that isn't a reaction. Well, honestly, you should never use down tilt. It's not a reaction, but like down tilt in general, it should be somewhat further from your mind if she's near the ground or on the ground, and if she's not a kill percent. This shouldn't be like a thing you should really think about too much.
Let's
Okay,
see.
I'm not going to talk about that down here. We all do those. And this is that thing where like we just have an answer for this. It definitely feels like you're like trying to flow and like have a real conversation and like do all this stuff that like doesn't need to exist because you could just short hop, turn around, throw your needles here, and just keep repeating the same exact pattern that we've been doing or talking about doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no reason to grab there either. I would right here. I know it feels bad, but just backing off and doing another back air wall here is optimal. Or just crouching and then doing like a delayed, like crouching, go up to the side plat, needle, just set up the same exact thing again. Whereas like going for the mix up here, and then you end up in the spot where you're over puff. And every time you're over puff, you're in like the 10% of the situations in the matchup that she actually wins.
Oof.
And then once again right here, wait, do you have a no double jump here? Do you have a double jump? Yeah, it
I
looks like
probably did, and I
yeah.
just it was a bad needle.
Definitely think like I'm just like a big fan of like air dodging to platforms because you get your double jump back. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So now that she's in the 90s, so I was gonna say, oh, she's at 90. It's fair time, and you just set up the fair in the corner, and she just dies. I was like, oh, nice. That's what I was gonna say. I think this was pretty good, but at the very end here, you should wave dash to center most of the time.
Mm.
Just because the corner gets dicey. But
Yeah.
it really like you still played that position pretty well here. Like this, you get out of the way, you go for that. This was a back air setup right here. Boom. Right here, your thought should be, I'm gonna set up a backflip back air. And then they do this, free back air.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that back air. Good. This should happen the entire game. Almost. This is all they have is like, well, the spacing for the back air is like a little off this time, you know, like whereas like there was a potential to do another perfect back air here, but sometimes also I think if the position is like if you jump up right here and you realize that Puff has passed the horizontal wall, you can just empty short hop crouch here. And she's either going to have to stalemate or like come down with an aerial, which you can eventually beat. And it honestly feels like if you were like doing the plan consistently, this would just be like pretty easy set.
Yeah, those two bears I hit, kind of crazy.
Yeah, like if that was just the whole set, like what would Michael really be doing here that would actually like win?
Right.
Like right here. Throw the needle. Throw the needle. You're in the spot to throw the needle. The good news is it's really easy to practice this matchup because you're just practicing the same thing over and over.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Okay, nice. Sure, that was good. Yeah, and once she hits 90 or whatever, it's fair time. It's free. Yeah, this is that spot. They love this back air. They live for this back air. Don't give it to them. Don't give them that back air. Just stalemate. Yeah, and like doing this, like I said, it's like, it's not good. It's not like the worst, but like you are giving up some risk that you wouldn't have just doing these back airs over and over.
Ooh, that's
So like,
cool.
okay, nice. Ooh, yes, you're doing it all. Like, and by it all, I mean the one thing, but you're doing it right. Like, notice how like there's no backflip there, and it gave you like you recognize like, oh, I'm slightly too close after this back air. Run away, back air. Got it.
His
Puff's going.
brain turned on.
Puff's going to ledge. That's where the needles are for. Right here. Drop through needle. Drop through
Mm.
needle right there. But jump needle, jump needle, jump needle, grab edge. Come up. One more needle probably.
Mm.
And
I'm
then so
pressing too many buttons.
they love, yeah, it's because they love this where they're like, what's gonna happen here? And it's like, do you know what the Jigglypuff's worst nightmare here is? Can you guess what, based on all we talked about, what option can you do here that's Jigglypuff's worst nightmare?
Bear?
Double jump, double jump to
Double
top
jump?
flat, because this
Oh.
is the only spot where Puff has any option to maybe hit you. And
Oh,
so
because I land on them and make them
yeah, and
jump.
so Puff's nightmare from this position is that you just retreat, and their only opportunity that they would ever get is gone, and you're back to zoning.
Hell yeah.
Whereas like here, this is down air here. Any aerial here is their dream. They would love for you to aerial here and be like, oh, I almost had the kill. I really want to get in there, and they're like, yes, okay. Down tilt, they're at a high enough percent now where it can kill. Down tilt becomes ultra broken. I would just not worry about the grab. I think the grab in this matchup is like, unless I'm like shield grabbing early forward air or I'm grabbing a rest, I don't think there's too much of a point
Hmm.
because like because you don't need it. That's why is like you already it's like using the three very strong options like we've talked about. Basically Sheik can just win the matchup entirely, so like having options where like, well, if I get the grab I get the kill now, if I miss the grab maybe I'm vulnerable, versus like, or I
Hmm.
just keep doing the ABCs and like I'm never vulnerable. And like,
Yeah.
if you never put yourself in those spots, like how many forward airs and back airs does it take Puff to kill Sheik here at 38%? Like an
A
infinite
lot.
number. Like it just feels like if you're the Puff here, you're like, oh, especially if Sheik gets this first kill, starts running away with the needles in the back air, you just start like, no. Whereas like what you really want is you want for Sheik to give you something and then be like, oh, I actually got a back throw at 38, and then I got a rest, and then the Sheik came back, and they killed me, and now I'm coming back with my invincibility at 3 stocks, and you're like, yay, like that's like what you want. Whereas like, yeah, this spot, ugh, if the Sheik plays safe here, it's so miserable as Puff. Yep, there's one back here. Eesh. This is so this is the spot when you're in this position. Dash away, crouch, or roll. Those are your options here. Jump
Hmm.
in this position, jump is the only option that actually kills you. Jump or shield, I guess, because she can down throw you. But
Hmm.
if you dash away here and crouch, or even dash through and crouch, or roll either direction, there's no chance of you dying. You will at most get like if you rolled here, at most you're gonna get corner pressured. Whereas if you jump, they're like, my moment. I've been waiting 50 years. And then there's a boom, and then like they just live for that. And if that doesn't happen, if they don't get that moment, they have nothing. Like it's like a 100-0 type of thing where like they either have it all and they insta kill you off of this, or this up air doesn't work and you just have a stock lead forever.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing they can do. Like cuz like you were saying that like you kind of like he comes up with all these new tricks. He hasn't
Hmm.
done like a single interesting trick these games. It's just been like the match continues and then you make a bad decision and then he hits you.
Oh.
Like he hasn't done like a new trick to get in. It's just been like, well, what will you do in this spot that will maybe give me the victory? And you're like, well, last time I did the option that got out, so this time I'll do the option that maybe risks it. And he's like, yes. And like, that's just all that's been happening. Right here, I don't like this needle charge. The needle charge is for like when they're really far away. If there's any chance that like right here, I would like you to be full hopping with your back facing Puff. To be like right here, creating a spot of like if Puff like Puff just shouldn't get to stand right here. Like if this was like a home run target, Puff should be getting hit. But the only reason why do I keep saying home run target, break the target. Sorry. But like the backer could potentially be here, or at least threatened here. Okay, nice. And then this is a pretty easy reaction. This is like getting under Puff is so good. This is just like a free up air. Okay, needle. Yeah, sometimes that'll happen where like they just get the right DI and the needle like they're high enough up. And if they do that, you just have to leave and start the back air wall. You gotta like make sure to react to see if they like right here you throw this one, and if they're too close like right here, you can't just throw another one. You gotta just leave. But and then yeah, they get the thing again where it's like, okay, this is like my one spot where I can kind of get Sheik, where if Sheik happened to just roll away, I would have nothing ever for a million years. But because you jump here, it's like, oh, this is why we do it. This is why we play the game. And it's like, oh, none of that should even happen ever. Should low-key be like a 7-minute 4-stock every time you play this matchup.
7-minute 4-stock.
Yeah, like, it should just be them, like, why can't I get in? Maybe if I can't more, they'll give it to me. And you being like, no. And then they're like, oh, okay, maybe if I do this, you'll give it to me. And you're like, no. Like, here's what I will say about this matchup. I have never won this matchup, ever. I simply do not lose the matchup. And I know that sounds like all zen or
I like
something,
that phrasing.
but I've just never felt like I really got him, ever. And I'm really, like, I feel like I'm really good at the matchup. The Puffs tell me I'm good at this one. But, like, I've never once been like, yeah, I got him. I was like, yeah, they just drifted right into my back here 80 times in a row. And then I won. And, like, you talk to them about it, and they're like, no, I was trying to get in. It's just, it'll never really feel like you took it from them. It just feels like they couldn't take it from you, and so you won eventually.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But I can tell you're like, right here, I can tell that like the pressure started like ramping up a little bit, and you're like, I gotta take it. I gotta take it from him before he takes it from me. And it's like, no, you don't have to take it.
Almost took it right there.
Like, the times you should feel like you took it is you get like a really nice fair. You're like, oh, I got a really good fair on that one, and then like I took it from him. Most of the time, like, yeah, like this. Okay, like the way you take this stock is not by hitting it, it's just by this back air connecting and actually killing. It's like, oh, okay, missed the tipper on the back air, it's fine. So now we'll set up again. Trying to hit the back air. Ooh, you overcommitted a little bit to this. If you just keep this up forever without like, you don't need to. I felt you like maybe, and it's like, nah, you want to hit them when they come in. You don't want to be reaching there.
Yeah,
you can just do it forever until you win.
I go for it.
It's like playing a coin flip. No, it's like rolling a die, where if you get 6, you win, and if you get 1 through 5, you re-roll. And it's like the only way you can lose is by doing something that is not like the normal thing. Like the only way you can possibly lose is by like giving up too much space or something like that. You kind of just can keep doing it over and over. And they love this where they're like, haha, you can't take it from me. And it's like, it's fine. Fine. One thing to keep in mind also is that I think you probably already know, but the jab gets really good at these percents. And so like that's what I'm trying to say here. You're not going to kill Puff most of the time by hitting her with an aerial here, right above the ledge. You're going to kill Puff by hitting her with an aerial here, when she tries to move in from the ledge. So you don't have to worry too much about trying to get over here to hit her. If she tries to go high here, you have back air zoning, which she doesn't like. So she's going to try to sneak in here at some point, and that's where you want to hit. But you don't want to go so far out here that you give up the position. Just realized we definitely are over an hour.
Yeah,
Definitely went
shoot.
like an hour and 20 minutes or something, but that's on me,
Oh,
so it's not no big deal.
okay.
um, but I think
Yeah,
we went. I think
I
we
think that
went
was enough.
over pretty much what is the issue here. But do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts or questions?
Um, no, not really. Do you ever use a Nair, or are you a Nair type of guy?
I'll nair in the spots where you were nairing where you have free damage and there's no reason
Uh,
not to nair, but I will never nair in neutral. There's not a reason to do
okay,
it.
okay.
It's the tools that we discussed are the only tools necessary, and they're also the most effective tools.
Right.
You just don't really need much more, and you can kind of just
Mm-hmm.
ABC forever.
Sounds
So
good then.
yeah, hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes. If you're confused about anything, let me know, and I can send
Mm-hmm.
you my payment info if you don't have that already.
Yes, please send that.
All right, sounds good. I will talk to you
All
later then.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Peace.
Appreciate it.